Well, when I thought it was interesting when I read one Bloomberg analysis that showed that if you looked at areas or grids that were near data centers over a 5-year period, the increase in cost was 267%. That's huge. And if you look at it on an annual basis, costs are going up nationwide 8 to 12%. But in some areas where you have large concentrations of data centers, like for instance, Virginia, customers are looking at an increase of as high as 25%. So that's the problem, is that it takes so much to run these data centers. We don't have enough of an infrastructure build out. It takes billions of dollars to do that. Plus, we have really old existing infrastructure. I think the average is 50 years. So it's a balancing act when you all of a sudden throw this huge additional demand onto the grid.
Yeah, and down here in Texas, we have our own grid. So that's a whole nother story about Texas inflation. Andrew, do you want to address this?
Data centers only accounted for roughly about 4% of total electricity consumed just a few years ago, and is projected to go up to 10%, right? 10% by 2030. But now, because many states are requiring the data center builders to basically provide their own power, and that way, the project can be processed, let's say, in 2 years versus 7 years. So right now, for example, if you and I get together, say we want to build a data center, we have the space, we have the resources like money and funding and all that, you still have to wait about 7 years for an approval. Okay, that's crazy. So when you propose that you can build your own SMR, you have a small, let's say a power plant by natural gas or propane or whatever it is, then you can, speed up the approval process to, let's say, 2 years. But it's still a 2-year wait. So which are the states that are requiring, data center builders to bring their own power? We're talking about like Virginia, Texas, Ohio, Arizona, and Georgia. These are the states that are leading the charge, that are requiring the builder of data centers to provide their own power. And other states are following suit. So I think there's still some light at the end of the tunnel in here because, one, echoing what Michelle said, our grid is old. Okay, it's time for an upgrade. We're going to have to upgrade anyway. So blame it on the data center. They take the fall. That's that. But otherwise, for data centers to be built, most states, and if they really want to get the project off the ground, 7 years is way too long. So I think most builders and producers in this particular area, they're providing their own power. And they're working with power companies to have power generation for those projects.